We all heard a lot of stories when we were kids. Most of us could still remember the stories and could even retell them easily. An opposite experience is also familiar. Reading an article that we cannot remember 5 minutes later, or listening to a lecture that seems to leave our memory as quickly as it enters. These two opposite experiences illustrate the struggle with how to communicate ideas effectively. This book is about how to nurture ideas that stick. Sticky ideas are those that are understood, remembered, and create an effect of changing opinions, behaviors, or values. To make sticky ideas, there are core qualities to create ideas that are more interesting and remain in the public consciousness for a longer time. These core qualities are summarized by an acronym, SUCCESS, which stands for Simple, Unexpected, Concrete, Credible, Emotional, and Stories. Here are the top 7 lessons from the book Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. Lesson 1. Find the core. When we try to communicate an idea, simplicity is the key. Simplicity of the idea is not about the length or breadth of it, but it refers to its core element that's easy to understand. To find the core, one needs to weed out the unimportant details until what is left is the most critical essence of the concept. It means choosing concepts that are more critical than others, and identifying the most effective way of communicating these concepts as simply as possible. Borrowing from the writing technique of the journalist called the inverted pyramid, we tell the most important aspect first, tailor it, then add the details. This method requires prioritizing the information into its simplest and profound form. The rationale behind prioritizing is because people find it difficult to choose from many options. Core messages guide people to decide by reminding them of what is essential, so we need to stick to it. Lesson 2. Break the pattern and use the unexpected. The most basic way for an idea or concept to grab the attention of the listeners is to break a pattern. Surprise them. Catch them off guard by doing the unexpected. Effective communication requires not just getting the attention of the audience, but also to keep that attention as long as necessary. Our brain is wired to think in and find patterns. The key then is to grab the public's attention and sustain it. To make our message stand out, we need to communicate it in a manner that breaks the common thinking pattern of the audience. Lesson 3. Be concrete. Studies show that people are better in remembering concrete over abstract nouns. Something becomes concrete when it can be detected by any of the 5 senses. Hence, concrete ideas are more of sticky ideas than the abstract ones. For instance, instead of saying that a banana sundae has 20 calories, it may be more understandable to say that it has more calories than a 1 banana fruit. Ideas will be retained more if we can picture them out clearly and concretely in our head. Lesson 4. Create credibility. One reason people believe ideas is that if it comes from authority figures. But what if we cannot bring in a true authority to communicate ideas? There are still other ways to create credibility, even without an authority figure. One is to use an anti-authority. For example, we can use a dying smoker to relay the message that smoking is bad for the health. Another way is to rely on statistics to make a point. Statistics should always be used to exemplify a relationship. We use them as input so that people will remember the relationship exemplified more than the numbers. A third strategy for creating credible messages is by way of the Sinatra test. One of Frank Sinatra's songs has a line, "If I can make it there, I can make it anywhere." Applying the same idea, the author suggests using one test case that will make the idea credible. If what we're saying is backed by an evidence, then the message becomes credible. Lesson 5. Make people care about the message. Sticky ideas are also emotional. People are emotional beings, and their feelings inspire action. People are more inclined to act when they care about it, and the most fundamental way to make people care about the idea is to create a connection between something they don't care about and something that truly matters to them. But first, we need to know what matters to people. Apparently, people matter to themselves, so the way to make people care is to appeal to their self-interest. Lesson 6. Tell it as a story. Stories facilitate mental stimulation, or reenactment on the part of the listener, that burns the idea into the mind. Hence, ideas need to be either integrated with a story or be the stories themselves. Tapping into the personal life story of the target customer base makes the idea or product become more successful. Utilizing story plots makes the storytelling more attractive. For example, creating a story about a protagonist overcoming a physical or mental challenge interests people by appealing to courage and perseverance. Working up a connection tale on a protagonist bridging a gap between him and the listener are inspirational for many by appealing to the listener's social core. This tells us that aside from the message itself, how we deliver the message also matters. Lesson 7. Create a curiosity gap. An effective way to get the idea into the minds of the listeners is to present it in a way that there's something the listeners don't know yet, while also providing the way to get that answer in the same sentence. When people sense a gap in knowledge, there's a natural need to fill the gap. What makes people watch a bad movie until the end, or finish reading a bad book? The answer is their desire to know what happens, the need to fill the gap. Thus, curiosity gap holds attention, which makes the idea stay longer in the memory. In conclusion, reading this book is like having a tour of success stories, from which one can learn principles and insights, not only on how to communicate ideas effectively. If we want that our ideas will leave an impact, they must stick with the audience. To achieve this, the idea should be simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, connects with the emotion, and tells a good story. Thank you for listening. If you like the book summary and you want to see more in this category, please like and subscribe so I can create more. You can also get a free copy of the entire audiobook by clicking the link in the description. Until next time.